Very good afternoon to you. Many thanks for joining us here on KTN News Desk on this 24th day of October 2016. Always a pleasure to have you tuned in. I am Akisa Ondera. Sign language interpreter is Marisha Witty. Let's first take a look at the highlights.
People have not really tried to internalize the effects of psychological impact of torture.
Independent Medical Legal Unit releases a survey on torture as government defends police. CORD and Jubilee pitch tents in Gusiland ahead of Wednesday ward by-elections. And Narok County Governor adds his voice to the continental debate on ICC withdrawal. Good afternoon. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the Independent Medical Legal Unit has this morning released the results of a survey on cases of police torture in the country. But police spokesman Charles Owino was quick to defend the police. Let's take a look.
I'll briefly talk about the psychological impact of torture. And when I look across the room, I probably may not need to talk about it. It went silent. It was so evident after that Andeyo lady finished talking, even as the time she continued to talk. I'm sure all of us seated here have empathized with the situation. Not just the general public, even those that came from the police service, the legal fraternity, medical, the journalists, and all of us here. Now, most of the time, psychological impact is always ignored or avoided. But I feel it's just that people have not really tried to internalize the effects of psychological impact of torture. That young woman is suffering. Now, what is happening to the children? She has the wounds, she has the fractures, she has left her little business. How about members of her family? So all of us seated here, as it has just been mentioned, we need actually to be voices of each other, to talk about those who have been affected by torture and other inhuman degenerating effects, and also to create awareness to those who are hurting quietly to come up and talk about it. The lady is now suffering alone, and nobody, even those who live around her, may not be able to help her. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is important, even as you see those people hurting, do not only dwell on the medical aspect alone, but look at the psychological impact. Because this woman will forever continue to feel the effects of that torture. As of now, she is trying to work through her emotions to see how best to even forgive those policemen, the driver, and everybody who was on that van who ruthlessly just meted violence against her. But it is not easy. It is something when it happens to another person, it is triggered. And so that negative effect continues. So as we leave this place, please create awareness. Tell those who are hurting, do not only focus on legal and medical, but search for psychological support. Because somebody needs to be allowed to talk about how they feel, to reach out for support within the community and outside, and also for those who are the heads of the various departments that have been mentioned. Please create awareness to your people or bring them to us so that we can help them to develop that human touch. When I hurt somebody, how does it feel for the person and for the significant others? How about if it happened to me? And one of these days, like it was mentioned even by the CEO of IMLU, today it is somebody else, tomorrow it will catch up with you. So ladies and gentlemen, as you leave this place, take care of your neighbor, take care of everybody around you, and create awareness to those who are hurting to come up so that we can be able to support them. Again, psychological impact has more weight even when it comes to the courts of law. So far, many cases are also thrown out because that aspect is missing. Somebody appears to have no effect at all. The journalists who are here can also testify to that. They are the first ones to come to the scene and they notice these people hurting, but they brush it aside. I was not physically hurt. But what is happening to them internally? Even that medical doctor who attended to that lady and many others seated here, how do they feel? How about the rest of us who have only listened to the story? We have not even been hurt.
We had come up with a strategic plan. And maybe contrary to what people believe, we were asking the government that we wanted an inspector general in police. The reason why we wanted an inspector general is to have somebody that would bring administration police and Kenya police as one team. It's not Kenyans who requested. We requested and then Kenyans gave us through a vote in the referendum. We requested for an independent civilian oversight authority. I hope the media should come and pick that report, the strategic plan 204-208. The reason why we wanted an independent civilian oversight is because when cases arise like this one of this lady who has spoken here, as a policeman, you have a very strong spine, even sometimes for very emotional issues like this. Because as an officer of the law, you always ask yourself why. It's wrong to torture. But you also want to find out why. Why was it not him, or herself, or the other one? And the torture must be punished. But the why must also come out so that people are taught on maybe other issues. I don't know the facts behind it. And that is why I was thinking about IPOA. And the reason why the Independent Civilian Oversight Authority was important is so that when a report comes out of investigations, then we truly want to believe on what has been said. Because many a times, when we clear policemen for blames, it is said we have cleared our own. So that is why we wanted the oversight. Unfortunately, it has appeared the oversight and the police are fighting. You wonder why. Because because like in this case, the reason why I was asking for the oversight, I wanted to know, have they received this report? And what have they done? Because if this is true, we'd want to see these officers charged in court so that it becomes as a lesson to others. We cannot be as a country where we are crying babies, we cry without action. It can't happen. But we just cry, we talk about tribalism, and when you go back, you practice it. You talk about torture, you go back, you torture your wife. And I saw the survey saying that the best people, the best fighters of torture is media. I don't accept. Media are the best institution in exposing torture.
I'll briefly.
All right, and our reporter Caroline B attended that particular function in the morning by the Independent Medical Unit, IMLU, and now joins us live from our city center studios with more on the findings of that particular survey. A very good afternoon to you, Caroline. Many thanks for joining us on News Desk. Kindly just let us in on some of the findings that were released today from that particular survey.
Well, good afternoon to you, Akisa. The survey was done countrywide and it involved 2,400 respondents. Well, the results are quite shocking. Most people do not report torture and ill cases, be it to the police sector or to the administration or whoever is necessary or to take up these cases. Most people actually fear to report this simply because they do not have money and investigations will not be done and action will not be taken. And 30% of the respondents said that they've have actually undergone torture. Compared to the report, another report that was launched in 2011, a similar one that looked at torture and ill treatment amongst the public, 23% of people said that they had undergone torture, which is an increase from 2011 to right now, where we have 30% of people who say that they have undergone through it. And it's quite unfortunate that most of this is done by the police, and most of the cases reported are from the coastal region and in Nairobi. While chiefs are also involved in the torture in Western and in Nyanza region, majority of the people say that the chiefs engage themselves in this torture and they get to face that. In Northeastern, we have the Kenya Defence Forces mainly being reported as the main people who cause torture to the public, and it's quite unfortunate since, as I've indicated, that most people are not able to report that, since people are actually poor, and most of these cases are reported in the rural and semi-urban areas, which makes it poor for them to go ahead and for investigations to take place. If you look at some of the cases that were highlighted recently, we have Willie Kimani and of that story that actually took place. It was not until the media took up that issue is when action was actually taken. Action is not taken not until the media decides to take up these issues. And most of the torture takes place in forms of strangling, shootings, beatings from the police sector. And it's not only the police that engage themselves in this. We also have wildlife wardens, from the Kenya Wildlife Service, who also associate themselves with torture. And a majority of this torture takes place in cells, in police custody, and a little of that takes place at homes. But most people think that, once you've reported your case or once you're arrested by the police is when it will take place at the police cells. And actually I had a chance to speak to some of the 1982 coup victims, and they said that they have not been able to get compensation for what happened almost 20 years ago. And you find that the court does not follow up on these issues, and if they do follow up on that, then it's going to be a very, very slow process for them to get their justice, which also exposes the weakness that is currently the judicial service, which we are hoping the new CJ is going to take up that Maraga concerning the compensation of victims whenever they face torture and ill treatment in the hands of the police service, in the hands of the administration, chiefs, or anyone who is reported to have taken torture to the public. Akisa?
Caroline, you've mentioned among the forces you've mentioned that unleash torture, most of it implicates the Kenya Police Force, and Charles Owino, who is the spokesperson for the Kenya Police Force, has denied these particular claims. What exactly were his reasons?
Well, what he actually said is that most people do not report the cases, and when they do, they actually fear, because he asked, when the presentation was actually going on, he asked if there is anyone who knows someone who has gone through torture. And one woman who was courageous enough to stand up and say, well, I know a person who has gone through this. She said she could not give more information simply because she feared to do that. And it is a reason that most people actually give. They fear that once they actually give that information, then the police are going to be against them. It's the same case that was actually given by a torture victim. She fears that once she's able to give that information, no one will take up, and people or the police will be on her neck. No action will actually be taken concerning that. And he actually defended the police about it, that people fear, presenting cases that they've undergone through.
All right. Thank you very much, Caroline, for that. That's our reporter, Caroline B., who attended that particular release of the survey on torture, and she's joining us from our City Centre studios. Let's now get into matters politics. CORD and Jubilee pitch tents in Gusii land ahead of Wednesday ward by-elections on Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is currently meeting Wiper delegates and aspirants from the 9 constituencies of Kisii County. Later, he will hold a roadshow in Kisii town before addressing a rally in Suneka. ODM leader Raila Odinga is also in the area, as is Deputy President William Ruto.
Wiper na mjumbe, wiper na MCA.
All right, let's now link up with our reporter Rashid Ronald joining us from Kisii. A very good afternoon to you, Rashid. Thank you very much for joining us here on News Desk. Looks like Kisii will be a bevy of activities, especially when it comes to politics this week. What exactly is happening with the three leaders in the area?
Or we go to the other side.
No, Governor, just take it and you go. It's very important. It's going to national TV, so it's worth waiting for.
Tell them to stop keeping us like.
All right. Rashid Ronald seems not to be ready for that or couldn't get us, but of course we will be trying to link up with him so that he can explain to us just some of the scenes we expect to see in Kisii County. Court leader Raila Odinga, Deputy President William Ruto, and Kalonzo Musyoka, CODCO principal, are all in Kisii County. Let's now link up with Rashid Ronald from Kisii to get an update on the same. Good afternoon, Rashid. If you can hear me, can you just explain to us the agenda for each of the leaders who are visiting Kisii County today?
Thank you very much, Akisa Wandera, in our studios in Nairobi. I'm in Nyacheki Ward. We have 14 candidates here. Just probably to go through their names, we have ODM Naftali Onkoba, we have Caleb Onguti of KNC, we have Maxwell Magoma of Jubilee Party, CCM, Kennedy Arama, LPK, Ezekiel Magati Wiper, we have Isaac Ogwaeko, very hard name here, but I hope I got it right. Deep, you have Jared Onduare. Ford Kenya, we have Walter Mokua. CMD Maranga I don't know. Moranga Mekubo, something like that. PPK, we have Justice Nyabera, Samuel Nyabuto, PDP, Peter Rambuka of MDP, then the only lady Lena Onserio, and of course it's a hotly contested seat. I remember it was initially held by an ODM, but now ODM is all out to ensuring that it actually secures that seat. A very, very heavy team or loaded team from ODM led by two governors here. That is Kisii Governor James Ongwae, and we have Nyagarama from Nyamira. We also have Homa Bay women representative, that is Gladys Wang, and a team of leaders from ODM. Maybe probably to start with the Governor Ongwae. It's like ODM is actually coming all out to ensure that it secures this. What is it important about this?
Thank you very much, KTN. First of all, I want to say that this is our seat. This was our seat and is going to be our seat. As you can see, I'm here with my colleague Governor Nyagarama. I'm here with Senator Janet Ongera. I'm here with Gladys Wanga and others. And I want to tell Kenyans that this is our seat. The only way that Jubilee can take it is through other unfair means. Because it was our seat and it's going to be our seat. So we are here, we are talking to our people to ensure that our brother here, our brother Naftali Onkoba takes this seat.
Thank you.
He's here.
Thank you. That's our Governor James Ongwae of Kisii. And I'm sure now Janet Ongera, a senior member of ODM, a senior member, I'll come to the Governor, a senior member of ODM, Madam. Are you lonely because I'm seeing some of the leaders moving to the other side of the political divide?
Honestly, how can I be lonely when I'm surrounded with so many important leaders here? We have all the members of the county assembly, we have His Excellency the Governor, and many aspirants who are going to remove all those members of parliament who defected from our party. We are here to support our candidate, and we are telling Jubilee that this is our seat, we are reclaiming it, and we are warning them that if they have any monkey business, we are ready and prepared to face them squarely tomorrow on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, that is Janet Ongera, member of ODM executive team. We also have Akisa Wandera, we also have the Governor of Nyamira, Bwana Nyagarama. You are prepared. How prepared are you to ensure that this remains an ODM seat? I'll hold it for you. The microphone.
Thank you very much. I do not want to belabor what has been said by my friends, but I want to say that this was ours and we are set to retain it. I've led a group of Nyamira, it's called Team Nyamira, to come to this place and give every support that is possible to our young man here, Onkoba, to make sure that he has retained the seat. We are aiming to go to State House next year, and therefore we are preparing ourselves for the journey.
You can hear Anya saying that they are aiming to go to State House. Gladys Wanga, you are aiming to go to State House. Are we hoping to see the party leader, CORD leader Raila Odinga here later today?
Rashid, we are really expecting the party leader. The ground is orange. The ground is expecting the party leader. They are ready to welcome him and to tell him that they are with him. And let me tell you, I've been here 2-3 days now. The leaders who moved to Jubilee, they moved on their own. The people of Kisii, the people of this great county are in ODM. And they are here to stay. And we are very, very ready to welcome our party leader and to show solidarity with him, to say that truly we are moving and marching to State House in 2017, and that march is unstoppable.
Thank you very much, Akisa Wandera. Later, you hear that Raila Odinga, their CORD leader, who is expected here in the evening, and they are saying, you've heard from some of the leaders, that those who moved from ODM to Jubilee, they went alone. The area is still ODM. I'm sure by tomorrow, Akisa Wandera will be able to know after the last vote is counted. Back to you in studio, Akisa.
Rashid. Our reporter Rashid Ronald joining us from Nyacheki ward, where the by-election will be held on Wednesday. And of course, as he says, CORD leader Raila Odinga is expected to arrive at the place any time from now. But at this point, let's take a short commercial break. Do not go too far. We still have a lot lined up for you here on KTN News Desk.